I can't hear you, Steve. Okay. Is it coming up? Okay. Is it live? Hey,
Are
guys.
we live? Are we live?
We are back.
Please let me know
All right.
on social media if you are getting this video. You know, it's technology, and every once in a while that isn't a perfect thing. And so let us know. I see
Okay.
Facebook.
So I'm going to go to Denise. She's been waiting. You had a question? Something with vitamin C. Hi.
Hi, I've listened to all your vitamin C videos, and I attended your summit this past August. And when I looked at, I scoured the internet for a C complex, but pretty much when you read down and you think you pretty much have a whole food supplement complex, they throw something in like soy or, you know, I don't know if the liposomal part is really that good. I know that there's someone that attended your summit that sells it, but it seems like it has a lot of ascorbic acid in it, and the same thing with the glutathione. I mean, there's nothing real in any of these things.
Yeah,
no real whole food.
This is a really good point.
And
go ahead.
So I've looked until I'm blurry faced, and I can't find anything, and I want something. But I know you don't like to recommend certain things of other people, but it would be kind of nice if you saw something that might be a little better than something else.
Yeah. Here's my viewpoint on it. The vitamin C is a tough one because there are whole food complexes that are like, you know, they have other stuff in them that I don't like. There are also whole food complexes that are just not hardly potent enough. Honestly, if I were you, this is what I would do, just between me and you and the four walls. Just don't tell anyone. No, I'm just kidding. I would get your vitamin C from actual food. It's not hard to do. If you get some sauerkraut and you have a half a cup, even a quarter cup of high quality sauerkraut every day, you will get triple the RDAs for vitamin C. Sauerkraut is the best. I mean, 1 cup of sauerkraut can give you up to 700 milligrams of vitamin C. Now think about it. The RDAs are only like 90. So that's what I would do if I were you. I don't know, bell peppers, vegetables, salad, that would give you vitamin C. That's what I would do, because you're right. It is hard to find one. I honestly do not know of one that I would recommend. But thanks for your call. All right, Karen, over to you.
Hey, well, I have almost nothing yet because all social media just came back up.
Okay.
But that's good. Welcome, everybody. I do have a question here. Can insulin resistance cause headaches?
Yeah, because now this is interesting, Karen, that you brought this up, because your brain doesn't have to adapt to ketones. It already has the machine already there, but it's dependent on what's happening in your blood, the ketones in your blood that are driving up. So if your body has insulin resistance and you're not able to deliver the new fuel because you shut down the carbs, now you want to give it ketones, and you have insulin resistance in the body, you could go through a little bit of a headache transition. So if that's the case, what you need to do is just take some MCT oil. What?
It's not intermittent fasting, it's insulin resistance. Does insulin resistance cause headaches?
Yes. Did I say intermittent fasting?
Well, you were answering a question and handling it when you're doing intermittent fasting.
All right, so when you have insulin resistance, basically that means that you can't deliver the ketones into the brain efficiently, simply because you have insulin resistance. So I would basically take MCT oil to supply the brain with the ketones, because what's happening when you have insulin resistance, what? What? What?
I love you. You just have so much information. It was just, can it cause headaches? But
yes.
You're giving the whole rundown on what to do.
I want to explain what to do.
It's okay.
Because they're going to go, hey, what do I do?
They should do keto, NIF.
Well, you also want to add MCT oil, because if you don't, it might take a little bit longer. Okay?
Perfect.
All right, good. All right, Dave, you're from California. You have a 14-year-old son just diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. Go ahead. What was your question?
My Well, that was just wondering what your feedback is on doing this type of diet for a type 1 diabetic, and especially that age.
Yeah, I think it would be essential because think about it. It's going to decrease the need for insulin. When someone becomes type 1, regardless of their age, now they're going to have to be on insulin because their pancreas is not producing it. High blood sugar and high insulin, excessive amounts, they're both equally damaging. So the key is, if you're type 1, is just to take the right amount of insulin for your body, not to take too much. So by cutting down the carbs, you can take the least amount of insulin. So that would be something that I would do. I would probably do 3 meals a day if he's 14 years old. Just don't do snacks. The other thing that I would do is I would beef up, no pun intended, vitamin D, because vitamin D is really good to support the beta cells of the pancreas. Because who knows, maybe you can actually help improve if there's a very small amount of insulin coming out, we don't really know what's happening at the cellular level. You might be able to improve it with vitamin D. Also benfotiamine, that's a B1. Both of those directly improve the beta cell, and that is the cell that he wants to improve out of anything. But I would definitely do a version of intermittent fasting as well as keto for sure. Thanks, Dave. And Brian from Texas, El Paso. You had a question. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Hi. I'm training for a half marathon, and I'm possibly thinking about moving to a marathon. I've been doing keto for about 3 months. Okay. Is keto something that you can really legitimately do with marathon training? Now, the marathon training I'm doing is the Galloway, which means it's run, walk, run. Okay. So, for example, for me, I'm jogging for 90 seconds and then walking 30. And those walks are carved in stone. You have to do it if you do this program.
Wow. Hey, Brian, you need to go to my website, drberg.com, and get the digital version of the last summit, because there was a speaker from Greece. What was his name? I know it.
Whoa, that's embarrassing. You shouldn't have asked me that.
We both
anyway,
are blanking out.
Well, I don't know either.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, he was a great speaker, and he actually
Nicholas.
Nicholas. His last name.
Well, come on. I came that far.
Hey, we'll take Nicholas. Anyway, he was a great speaker.
Ultra marathoner.
Well, he did the Iron.
Ironman.
Ironman,
and
which
then
is
also
6
the
hours.
summit before that.
Both of them.
There was an athlete who did 100 miles on keto.
He took the record, world record.
World record. So the answer is yes, absolutely.
Yeah, but here's the thing. If you're doing like what you're doing, you're walking, running, if you actually run your body on ketones, you're going to have the unfair advantage over all these guys doing glucose. So
tell him just about the last leg of Nicholas's.
So Nicholas did he did this 6-hour race, right? They have to bike, run, and then swim.
Bike, swim, and then run is the last one, I think.
Yeah. So the last 2 hours, when everyone was just like having problems because they're on glucose, he was just drinking water and some coconut oil, and he basically passed 400 people in a row. So highly recommend doing the keto, intermittent fasting, and watch that video. And who knows, you probably would want to contact him. He'd probably give you some great advice. He likes helping people. Thanks, Brian. All right, Karen.
Okay, good. So now we don't ever address any diagnoses.
That's right.
But I think that this question brings up a really good point. So someone is asking how to balance a hypoglycemic condition with a uric acid condition. I'm not sure what that means, balance. Maybe they mean how do you manage both of these?
Yeah, I think so.
So in not addressing anything medical, what would your advice be?
So you're saying hypo or hyperglycemia?
Hypo.
Okay, hypo. So that's a low blood sugar situation, which, by the way, whatever you read online about that, when it talks about adding more meals of the day, that is bad information. I've done tons of videos. You want to do keto intermittent fasting because, think about it, what's the number one cause of hypoglycemia is high insulin. It's pushing the blood sugars down. And yes, there's an adrenal issue or a liver issue, but it's high insulin. So you want to do keto and IF for sure. Now, as far as high uric acid levels, when you do intermittent fasting, mainly intermittent fasting, the uric acid levels can go up because the ketones are acidic, and if you're predisposed, you can have a little flare-up. So the simple way to handle that is to, in your water every day, add lemon juice, which will counter that like that, and also maybe some potassium citrate as an electrolyte. That will alkalize the pH. If you're doing enough vegetables, it should counter it, but that will lower the uric acid because the quick fix on uric acid is to increase the pH of the urine just slightly, make it slightly more alkaline because it's going to be more acidic, and the symptoms just go bye-bye. Okay? Good question, Karen. Let's go to Iman from Minneapolis, Minnesota. You had a question. Go ahead.
Yeah, good morning, Dr. Berg.
Good morning.
Hello? Yeah. Dr. Berg, I've been in ketosis now for 16 days. According to my urine test this morning, still I'm not fully in ketosis. It shows a very small amount. I lost only 3 pounds and like a couple of inches from my stomach and belly. Well, my question is, I'm pre-diabetic. My lab test showed my A1C, it was 6.2. My doctor advised me to take medication for this, and I refused because I told her I want to solve this problem without any pills. I want to solve it through keto. But here is the question. Before keto, I didn't have any diabetic symptoms like going to the bathroom, feeling so dry mouth and tongue. But through keto, I started going to the bathroom so much, like 2 to 3 times in an hour, with a very dry mouth, especially at night. And it keeps waking me up. So is it safe to continue with the keto and to take next to it the pills, or what do you advise me?
Okay.
And
so
number 2.
Hold on. Let me. You get one question because I have a lot of other callers. So here's the thing. Of course, I can't give you any medical advice. I'm just going to give you my opinion. I would want to make sure you're doing keto exactly like I recommended. So I'm assuming you have the book and you're doing exactly like I'm recommending it. When you do keto, what's going to happen for everyone is you're going to reduce your carbs. And now, because every carb attaches to like 3 water molecules, you're going to dump a lot of fluid. This is not a bad thing. You're getting rid of the excess fluid. You just need to add more sea salt to keep the fluid there. The main thing is is your hunger going away? Is your energy going up? Are you doing it correctly? Is your A1C improving over time? If you are pre-diabetic, just realize it could take months and months and months before you really turn things around. So stick to it. Do it exactly like you should. Don't worry about the weight loss right now. Just worry about getting healthy, and I have a lot of videos on that.
And that said, 3 pounds in 2 weeks, 3 pounds and several inches around the waist is
That's
great.
phenomenal. That is phenomenal.
It's amazing.
You're doing it actually is working.
Yeah.
You just want to ride the wave.
Yeah.
Okay, good question. All right, Karen.
Okay, good. So I have Pam here on YouTube. She's in her 50s and she's in menopause, but now that she's on keto, her hot flashes have increased. She's looking for a video. She thinks maybe you mentioned supplements, or what can she do?
Yeah, I've done a lot of videos on this. I would, you want to, the relative ratios of estrogen progesterone are off, so you want to actually increase your progesterone. But I would watch my videos on that because it's not an easy answer because you want to get a little bit of a background of why you need to do that and exactly what to take. So I'm going to suggest go to my videos and just search out the one on hot flashes, the recent one I did, so that way I don't have to explain 5 minutes on that answer. But you want to actually increase your progesterone.
Okay, good. And then Diane also on YouTube, can you drink apple cider vinegar all day long, and what would that help?
You want to dilute it in water, of course, 1 teaspoon in a glass of water, maybe 1 tablespoon. And yeah, you could drink it all day long. Use a straw so it doesn't affect your teeth. And it's going to help your blood sugars. It's going to help your digestion. It's going to give you energy.
Is there a limit on how much you would suggest?
If your body craves it, I would do it. But your body will tell you when you're done. If you have too much of it, it could affect like your breathing a little bit. Like now all of a sudden it's affecting your sleep because you're breathing more rapidly because that means your pH is too acidic. I rarely have seen that, but try it out and see how you feel. I don't think you can do too much of that. I mean, within reason, if you're drinking like 2 liters of fluid a day, right? And you add apple cider vinegar, that's not an issue. You just dilute it and drink it all.
Tablespoons a day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Now, Karen,
Yeah.
I'm going to be doing some videos today.
Okay.
And I want to tell people what I'm going to be doing videos on.
Good.
Should I tell them?
Tell them.
All right. One is I have a very interesting video that I'm going to do on the bubonic plague. It's called Black Death. And this happened in, I think, in the 1300s AD. And basically, it's fascinating data. Actually, you're going to stay tuned for it. I'll probably release it in about 3 or 4 days. I have to produce it today. But this relates to the Spanish flu. And a lot of the data that's out there is just a theory on why it occurred. I'm going to show you some new data on the bubonic plague because I know it's on the top of everyone's mind around this time of the year.
Everyone's been thinking about it.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, okay, the holidays are coming.
Yeah.
What about that bubonic plague? You know?
Right.
God, that's the itch I need to scratch right now. I need more.
And I'm
I
going
need more.
Count me in.
Yeah.
And I'm going to talk about the healthiest country in the world.
Wow.
Okay?
Who did they have the bubonic plague?
I'm not going to reveal that. It has no association. And I'm going to also talk about a really good natural antihistamine that you can use if you have any type of mucus. I'm going to talk about that.
Okay. Steve, you have fans.
Okay, so let's go to
Oh, good.
Xavier. You're from
Xavier.
Yep.
Leesburg,
Hello.
Virginia. Hi.
Hi, how are you, Dr. Berg?
Good, thanks.
So, I started the keto diet about 3 weeks ago,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm type 2 diabetic,
Mm-hmm.
and I completely threw my metformin in the trash, and my sugar levels have been around high 90s and low 100s, and I feel great. The only thing is that I'm in and out of ketosis,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm I stay around moderate, and then I fall off of it and go back, and like at 3 a.m. when I use the restroom, I was, moderate, and then I completely fell out of it again. And all I had this morning was black coffee, and I'm not hungry yet, so I'm waiting to get a little hungry to eat my eggs and my bacon and so on. So
Great.
What should I do to stay on ketosis?
Now, question, are you checking your blood or urine?
Both.
Okay, so this is the answer. I wouldn't worry about your ketones at this point. It's a good thing to test, especially initially. But what's going to happen is that you're going to start becoming more efficient, and that could happen now or very, very soon, which means you're going to be burning up these ketones. So you're going to see sometimes less ketones being wasted in your urine for sure, and depending on what's happening to your body and how much insulin resistance you have, you could have more or less ketones in the blood. The main thing is giving more time, because type 2 diabetics, I mean, you're going to have to be on this for months to really flip everything. The fact that you're doing better already and you're losing weight and things are doing better just tells us it's working. But I would not even worry too much about if your ketones are up and down. What you can do is just keep using the indicators of your hunger going away. That's like the best thing. Is my stomach shrinking? Do I have energy? Do I feel better? Also check your blood sugars and keep checking that. That should be coming down to probably 80, and then you'll see it'll come down to the 70s. But that could take time. And then keep watching the videos to keep refining it and tweaking it to the point where you enhance it. Because you have this version of keto, and then there's like, you can always improve it. And that's what my video is about, how to take it to the next level. Thanks for your question. Karen, we're over to you.
Hey, good. So we got Catherine on Facebook. She says, how can I manage keto if I'm living on low sugar? Now, I'm hoping that means low blood sugar.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Because when I first read it, I thought, Catherine, that you were saying you're continuing to eat a low amount of sugar.
Yeah.
But I think you should answer the question the other way. Obviously, if you're eating a low amount of sugar in your diet, you're not on keto and it's never going to happen.
Right.
So we'll move that one over and assume that you mean you live with low blood sugar.
I think it's an interesting question, because when you do keto, Karen, you basically, your blood sugars start going lower and lower and lower to the point where you might get nervous because there's this condition called hypoglycemia. But the true hypoglycemia is where you have actual symptoms of feeling bad, irritable, craving everything, hungry. But when you keto, you're not running on sugar, so of course your sugars are going to be low, not extremely low, not like 30, but they can go down to like 60, even 50. If you feel okay, it's totally fine because you're running your body on ketones. So why would you have high sugar? So I wouldn't worry about so-called low blood sugar, and I've done a video on this too. You can search it. If your other symptoms are good, because your new normal will be in the 60s, sometimes even slightly lower. Okay?
Okay.
All right, Karen.
Nina, what are we talking about? Keto and intermittent fasting and growing a healthy body. Welcome.
Hey, Donald, you're from North Florida. You had a question about something. Go ahead.
Yes, I have a question. First off, hello, how are you?
Hi, thanks.
My mom, she does the keto diet, and she got me, listening to your videos and stuff. And I want to talk about the subject of stress and the adrenal glands.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Because I have broken my foot, on my right foot, tore ligaments once on my right foot, twice on my left foot, broke my hand, broke both my collarbones. I got bad back with, bad compression going on.
Okay.
Okay. But when my adrenaline gets going, I feel like I'm getting kidney shots. Okay. So I just recently watched a video, I think it was yesterday, on what the adrenals do, how they have no off switch and all that. Mm-hmm. And I've been trying to tune my body because I'm tired, because like you were going all over the place looking for results because you felt ill,
Right.
You weren't getting what you needed, so you wanted to try whatever, and then you found what you found.
Right.
So now, would you? Because I thought I had a problem with my lymphatic system, but I think the adrenals maybe be tied to that or so. I don't know. But I have knee problems, groin problems, ankle problems, up behind my neck and my shoulders. I get these pressure headaches and everything like that.
Okay. Hey, Don, I need give me a quick question.
My question is the remedy, because I feel that each system of the body requires certain amounts of chemistry of certain ingredients to make that system run optimal.
Right.
Okay. So the concoction that you have for the adrenal system, is that everything that the adrenal, will I get everything I need from it?
Okay, good question.
Because I don't have...
I want to cut you off just to kind of, because we have to move along, because I could definitely spend like an hour on the question. But okay, so I think you're on the right track. The first thing is that make sure, especially for the adrenals, that you implement healthy keto and intermittent fasting. That's step number one, because that's going to actually support and increase your tolerance for stress. The other thing that I think would be really good for you would be the adrenal cortisol relief one, because there's two. There's adrenal formula, but the cortisol relief I think will be very helpful, and I would take probably 6 of those a day because it supports the adrenal from a nutritional angle. You're going to just feel a lot of relief when you take that. That being said, after you do this for a period of time, I've had a lot of old injuries. You may want to consider doing hyperbaric oxygen therapy for your joints. It's the most wonderful thing for old joint problems, but that's down the road. Right now, do intermittent fasting, and then also watch my video on the stress webinar, which I actually walk you through all the different techniques for the adrenal. I show you how to do them. I think the combination of that would be awesome, Donald. So do that, okay, and let us know how it helps you. Karen?
Yeah.
What do we have?
Okay, good. So one kind of broad question.
About bubonic plague?
About bubonic plague. What is it? How did it all start?
It's
no, don't tell me yet.
Okay.
I want to watch the video. Okay, so this concept of recovery.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically, can you just summarize what is recovery, as it relates to every one of us? How could I improve my recovery, and how does keto in intermittent fasting affect one's recovery?
You want the short answer?
I want the short answer. There was a question about recovery, but in expanding it so that all of us can apply or work with it, because I know it's important.
Yeah. So there's a lot to this, but I'm just going to tell you, your health really boils down to how fast you can recover. And if the adrenals are too stressed, or you're getting older, especially if you're getting over the age of 30, 35, what happens is you recover less and less.
Now, when you say recovery,
bounce back to normal.
From?
Stress or exercise.
Any kind of stress.
Yeah. So let's say, for example, I don't know, you're babysitting 20 kids in a room for over 8 hours, for example. Small children, right? And how long will it take?
Stress.
How long will it take you to bounce back from that? I'm being sarcastic.
Okay.
But let's say you work out for an hour and you're sore for a week, or your pulse rate doesn't come down. It tells me your recovery is low. So what you want to do.
What if let me just ask a few more questions on this.
Yeah,
what if you're not, because there's a lot of people watching, right? Does this also apply to stress, like you just had the crappiest day at work, or your boyfriend just broke up with you?
Yeah, if you have
emotional... Is it that kind of stress too?
Yeah, you can have, physical
like a
stress.
Death in the family?
That's probably the worst stress. If you have losses, what will happen is, if your adrenals are weak and your recovery is low, it can really hit you a lot harder than someone can bounce back quick. So it's really all about recovery, and sleep is important. I am very serious about increasing my recovery time. I work out every day, doing the bike, make sure I get to sleep, doing hyperbaric right now, which is really cool because it floods your body with oxygen. I'll do more videos on that. And I'm doing everything I possibly can, nutrition. I'm testing things out, what's going to increase recovery. So I'm like a human guinea pig for that right now. But I think I need to do a complete video on the topic of recovery.
Yeah, and how it applies to absolutely everybody, because sometimes you talk about recovery and people think, oh, I'm not there yet. I'm not working out every day, or even, But everybody wants to be able to recover from life stress,
this is interesting.
Day or
This is interesting. Microbes that live in a stress-free environment don't thrive well. Now, what does that mean? It means that if you have no stress, you are not going to thrive well. So a little bit of stress is very important about getting your body to adapt. And the key is whether you're doing cryotherapy, going in the cold and the heat, or
you lose your heat. Your heat turns off for a day.
Yeah, or any type of
power bill.
Yeah, or any type of body stress. Or nutritional stress, and then exercise stress. Hyperbaric stress, all these different things.
How about fasting?
Fasting is a stress, exactly. Intermittent fasting. So you're basically giving a stress, you're starving your body a little bit, and then you're eating, and then you're causing your body to recover. The key is just understanding what gradient or level do you do for your body, which is different for everyone, so you can add stress and then bounce back. Add stress. I mean, think about even in life. You take a successful person, and you get their history, they've already had some type of stressful event that then allowed them to rebound and become very successful. So it's right. And if you take a child who's never been through stress and has everything handed to him, he doesn't really thrive. So we need stress, Karen. We need more stress.
And would you say even that a person who, from a young age, doesn't have any physical stress.
Barriers.
Any physical barriers, not just things handed to them, but say, yeah, just no physical barriers, not having to, I mean, I'm trying to apply this, extrapolate this out for people who have had maybe an average life. Right?
I think I would add more exercise, add more things. It's called hormesis, and I actually did a video on this. There's all these things you can do to add stress to your body physically, to get it to rebound, from intermittent fasting, periodic prolonged fasting, exercise. There's a whole bunch of things you can do to stimulate your body getting stronger.
It's kind of an interesting thing to look at, right? Because people, as you're speaking, I'm like, wow, with that viewpoint, I would actually welcome a little stress.
Exactly.
Right? Instead of avoiding stress, and the ideal scene being a life with absolutely no stress. What is happiness? It's a life with no stress. That wouldn't be true.
Right.
Right.
Right. You, like the hyperbaric thing, right? You're going basically under, like you're going 40 feet under deep sea diving, right? You actually have all this pressure, being fed 100% oxygen, and you're creating a stress on your body that rebounds with stem cell activation in your long bones. I mean, like you're getting brand new cells that are regrowing bone. I mean, it's just like, what? It's crazy. So and you're growing new brain cells, and you're getting younger. Also,
I thought you looked younger today.
That's right.
You looked a little
That's
younger
right.
today.
It's working. So when you are not eating and you're looking younger, like what's up with that? So this whole thing with hormesis is very fascinating, and I'm into it.
That was a good question.
Yes. All right. Let's go to Richard from Tampa, Florida. You had a question. Go ahead.
Hey, Dr. Berg.
Hey.
Great content. Thank you very much for what you do. So, quick question. If you're intermittent fasting, you're doing one meal a day, and your ketones are going quite high and your blood sugar is going quite low, your glucose on your blood test, can you get yourself in trouble by going too low, like below 60? If you're in the 50s, if you're feeling fine, that's cool, or is your brain being protected because of the ketones?
Okay, so here's the thing. Richard is asking a question related to the hypoglycemia thing. No, when you do keto and IF, your blood sugars will go down to 60, and that's going to be your new normal because you're running off ketones. You don't need a higher sugar anymore. And the way to know is you're feeling good. Now, your ketones, are you worried about, what about if your ketones get too high? That's only going to happen if you are a diabetic type 1 and you fail to take your insulin. So that's only going to happen. It's not going to happen otherwise. If your body does run on a small amount of glucose, but guess what? A lot of different parts of your body can make glucose. It's called gluconeogenesis. So all the sugar that you need, your body will make it like that, and your liver will make it, and it'll supply whatever tissue that you need. So that's kind of how it works, and you can definitely have low blood sugar and high ketones and be very, very healthy. Thanks, Richard. Patricia, you're from San Francisco, California. Go ahead, you had a question.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
My question is, actually, I've been on keto for 3 months, and everything has been improving. I lost about 35 pounds. I had a A1C of 5.6, and now it's 5.2. The only problem is that I got an inflammation test done, and it was let's see. I'm sorry, I totally lost it. My HSCRP result of 6.8, and I know that the normal is about 3.8, I think. So I wanted to see if you had any recommendations. I did watch your videos, but I didn't find much information regarding this result. And I know it could be, inflammation can be due to many things. So I wanted to see what your take is about this.
Sure. If you're doing intermittent fasting, maybe you need to do a little bit longer. But if you still have inflammation, you're on keto, and your cholesterol remains high, okay, I would watch the videos on cholesterol because I would actually ignore cholesterol and focus more on triglycerides and HDL. That's like way more important. And also the calcium, the coronary artery calcium scoring test too. But here's the thing. If you want to drop inflammation even more, increase your vitamin D levels, okay? That's important. Also, make sure that what you're eating on a keto plan doesn't involve any food allergies that can be stirring up inflammation, like dairy. That could be another reason why your inflammation might still be high. That's what I would do, Patricia. Good question. All right, Karen, what do we got?
Okay, good. So here is one. What is your take on lectins?
Yeah. Lectins are certain anti-nutrient things in vegetables and nuts and seeds that can create inflammation and pain and arthritis. And so there are certain foods that are low in lectins, certain ones that are high. I've done a video on this. You can determine that. Honestly, this tends to apply for people that are sensitive to lectins. From my experience, this is my own opinion, I have not found a lot of people that are sensitive to lectins. So that's why I haven't talked about it too much. I've done videos if you have a sensitivity, you're eating things and you're getting inflamed and your digestive system is all messed up, then apply that. But most people can handle easily the anti-nutrients in vegetables without a problem. This relates to the other question with hormesis, which you're adding maybe a toxin or a stress to improve the body. I believe those toxins in vegetables, which are anti-nutrients, help the body to actually stress it and get it to, it adapts and becomes stronger as well. So we don't necessarily have to always be completely 100% on, oh my gosh, I'm going to actually completely stay away from vegetables because they have a anti-nutrient. They have lectins, they have oxalates, they have phytic acid, like all these different things that could irritate me. Then what are you left with? So that's my long answer.
Okay, so I get another one. So Ann on Facebook is asking about swelling.
Yeah.
There's a medical term for that also.
Inflammation.
Edema.
Yeah, edema.
What can help? Can keto and IF help swelling?
Well, I've done a video on it, lots of videos on it, absolutely, because one molecule of glucose, actually 3 molecule, if you're actually on a high-carb diet, you're going to retain more water because 3 molecules of glucose attached to 1 molecule of 3 molecules of water attached to 1 molecule of glucose. So basically, when you're doing a high-carb thing, you are a human sponge. So you're going to be holding fluid and edema. If you do low-carb, it pushes the fluid out. If you do the type of keto that I recommend, where you're using a lot of vegetables, you'll get the potassium to also help push the fluid out as well. You can also enhance it with my electrolyte powder, and then you just push this fluid right out, and it's high in potassium. But after a period of time, you may need to also add more sea salt, especially if you feel tired, because my electrolyte powder is not high in salt. It's high in potassium, magnesium. So just as a special note. Note to self.
Hey, an interesting question here. What is this thing that they call a Buffalo Hump? And how can that be improved?
Well, everyone has a little bit of a bump back there. It's called a Dowlinger's hump. And it's actually, it's the 7th cervical vertebra. No, it's right here.
A big one.
It's the 7th cervical vertebra.
Oh.
And that's normal.
I thought that was just a bone.
It's a bone.
Oh.
But when it becomes a little large, that's more of an indication that you may have high cortisol because you get a little fat pad around that thing. But really what happens, I think what people want to know about it is that, especially when you get past menopause, you see a lot of women start doing this, like their head just kind of, like I had a lady who came in right after menopause, her entire cervical spine collapsed. I mean, the vertebrae is just like, and she's just like stuck like this. And I'm like, what happened? because she had osteopenia and then osteoporosis and then bam. So you can get a bone scan to see if you have osteopenia. I would watch my video on posture and watch the video on the Dowager hump so you can get more data on that. Because it could be adrenal, it could be it could be a normal situation, or it could be that you're going through menopause and you might need to support your bones.
Well, okay.
Okay.
There you have it.
Candace, you're from Bakersfield, California. I used to live in Lancaster, right next to Bakersfield. So you had a question about the thyroid. Go ahead.
Yes, I do. I'm 58 years old, and I have had my thyroid removed a year and a half ago, and I would like to know if there's anything I should do extra or watch for.
Okay, good.
I know what you're going to say.
So what you want to do is obviously you had your thyroid removed. The question is, hopefully they didn't take out your parathyroids, because then that could be a problem. And if they did, you need to be taking parathyroid hormones. But just the thyroid, you're probably taking Synthroid or something like that. I would, honestly, my opinion is, and I would just do research on this. I like Armour thyroid because it has more than just T4 synthetically. And then also, you want to be monitoring your other nutrients like trace minerals, and especially you probably want to take a bit more selenium. Selenium is really supportive in people that had their thyroid removed, and also people that have hypothyroid. So we need selenium just as much as we need iodine. So, and then now just kind of watch your symptoms, because now that you don't have a thyroid, it definitely alters the absorption of nutrients, especially trace minerals, the absorption of protein. You may want to even consider getting this product here I have. It's called Keto Essential Aminos. I'm not biased, but I think this is one of the best amino acid products, especially for protein, in just maximizing your protein absorption with the maximum anabolic effect and the least amount of waste. It has like a 1% waste compared to other proteins, which is like well over 50.
It's okay to be biased.
I'm slightly biased.
On your own quality products.
Thanks,
I thought you were gonna tell her to go find a thyroid. Like
I was going to,
people?
but there's so many questions here. I didn't want to waste time on these silly jokes that I had.
Ah, we love your silly jokes. Hey, question here. How does the keto and IF way of eating affect sperm count? Can it increase it? Can it decrease it? What have you seen?
Yeah, it actually will increase it because you're reducing insulin. Insulin suppresses testosterone and other sex hormones, so it will improve it. The other thing you can do is take zinc. Zinc is probably one of the best things to take if you want to increase that.
If you found that it decreased when you were on keto, what would you recommend?
I would add zinc.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, because it tells us that you may not be doing it correctly. When if you omit the trace minerals and on the keto, and you're just doing, like maybe your dirty version of keto, it's not nutrient dense, then you end up with these trace mineral deficiencies or other B vitamin deficiencies, and you have other symptoms. But if you're doing it correctly, now the best source of zinc and other trace minerals would be shellfish. Not to be shellfish.
Don't be shellfish.
Shellfish, yeah. Let's go to Tommy from Quebec, Canada. You had a question about ketones are very low on OMAD and IF. Go ahead, Tommy.
Yeah, hello, both of you. It's nice to talk to you.
Nice talking to you too.
I started doing the keto diet maybe in last June, and I'm pretty sure now that I'm fat adapted because I measure my ketones almost every day, and I saw that my ketone level are pretty low now, even if I'm doing the keto diet and even if I'm doing intermittent fasting. And sometimes I do intermittent fasting, like I don't eat for maybe 2 days, and this week I did a 3 days fast, and my ketone level are rarely higher than 1. Sometimes it's maybe 0.4 to 1 and never higher. It's range. I know that at first your ketone level are pretty high, but now it's strange. It's low, and I started doing like these 2 days fast and 3 days fast because I thought, oh, maybe my ketone level is going to be higher, but no, it's pretty well. I think it's low.
Okay.
I know that everybody's different.
Okay.
But it's strange. I don't know why. I'm 42 years old. I'm 6'2" and 182, 83 pounds.
Yeah, you're the exact same height and weight myself. So this is what's going on, Tommy.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you're checking your blood, not your urine, because if you check the urine, that could actually go away because you're just burning up ketones. But if you're on OMAD or you're doing intermittent fasting longer and your ketones are still low, realize this. Ketones are a reflection of your blood sugars. And here you are fasting, you're not eating any sugar, but what's probably happening, you're still in the transition phase where your body is making more glucose. It's called gluconeogenesis, and that is what's keeping the ketones low right now because you haven't fully got through this insulin resistance problem. So it's just your body making a bit too much glucose, and that's going to kind of keep your ketones from going high. I wouldn't worry about it. Just give it more time, and you will make more and more ketones over the next month, okay? Or months. Thanks, Tommy. All right, Karen, what do we got? You have another question?
I do. This is annoying. It won't let me open unless anyway. Yes, so I have Melody from Facebook. She wants to know, what would you recommend for afternoon fatigue?
Yeah, afternoon fatigue, I would take a nap. I would make sure that your
the truest
sleep
thing out of the mouth.
Your sleep is good. You know, sometimes when you're doing keto or you're going through stuff, you know, our bodies are in the recovery phase, depending on what you're doing, and you just might need more recovery, more sleep, or a nap. It's not a bad thing, but let's say it's really let's say you got all that handled and you still fatigue. It means that you need more B vitamins because the mitochondria is not doing its job. You can also need more magnesium, which also supports the energy levels. Personally, with myself, I might take the nutritional yeast maybe at lunch, and that'll kind of get you through it. And then, so I take the B vitamins like through the day. That usually should spike your energy. B vitamins, especially B1.
Good. And Tasneem on Facebook asks, is there a plant-based keto plan that you would recommend?
Well, I would just watch my 2 videos I have on this topic and apply that. I don't have another program I would recommend because I don't know of one, but it's going to take a little more research. It's more difficult to do it, but I will say this. One of the products we have, it's called Veggie Solution. It's really a cool product. It's with one of the most highest quality plant-based proteins, Lectins, which is the smallest little flour, high quality, virtually raw, but that powder has the same protein as whey protein. Now, it's not like consuming eggs, but it is the most superior plant-based protein out there. And it's not even like a concentrated pea protein. When you consume that, you'll feel really good. It supplies a good amount of protein, not 100% of it, but it'll give you a good amount of protein. So that might kill 2 birds with 1 stone, the greens and some of the protein. Let's go to Aisha from Centerville, Virginia. You had a question. Are you there?
Yes, hello, doctor. Thank you for taking my call. You are amazing person. I really admire everything you do. Doctor, I just wanted to talk about my son. He has this problem of fungal infection on his foot between the toes, and also jock itch problem. And he also has this migraines which are not letting him go. They're constantly. Sometimes they're on one side, and sometimes they're on the they just come on the area of the eyes or over the whole head. So these both of these problems are way too much, and they're kind of chronic. They have become kind of chronic too.
Okay,
so if you can please kindly please help
sure.
me in this.
Now, I'm assuming that if he's related to you, which he is because he's the son, that he's obviously on keto and intermittent fasting. I'm assuming that. Because that's going to actually improve the immune system greatly. Now, that being said, let's say he's already doing that. I would start giving him oregano oil, and you get it in these little pearls. Oregano is really good for the systemic immune system, and that will help greatly. And then stay tuned for a video that I'm going to do today on a natural antihistamine. I don't want to reveal what I'm going to recommend, but that would be a good video to watch as well for the rash. But it sounds like if it's a chronic groin issue, that's more in the lymphatic system, so you'd want something more systemically, like oregano, in addition to healthy keto and intermittent fasting. Thanks. And Karen?
Okay, good. So I'm gonna answer or ask a ton of different questions in one question here.
Bubonic plague. I'm going to cover that in the video.
How was the question? It's like Facebook and YouTube, just and what's up with the bubonic plague?
It's just the hot topic right now.
There's 100 ways I could ask that, but everybody wants to know.
It's a hot topic. People have been dying to know.
I know. Hey, but say I just had surgery. Say I just had that stomach surgery. What do you call it?
Gastric bypass?
Gastric bypass. Say I just was recovering from massive medical condition. Say I'm anything. What would be your recommendation? Is there any situation where you would say don't do keto or intermittent fasting? Don't do it. Keto will not help with this. Because we get tons and tons and tons of questions with people saying, well, this is my situation. Would keto help me?
Okay, there's two things.
Yeah.
One is intermittent fasting. The other thing is keto. Keto is healthy for every single person on planet Earth. There is no contraindication for keto.
No matter the surgery
no
they
matter
just
what
had,
surgery
they had organs out.
Yeah, because let's when do we need a high carb diet? Never. Okay, so that's given. Now, intermittent fasting, there's two situations or three that I would recommend not doing intermittent fasting. One is if you're pregnant or lactating, or maybe you're a small infant, breastfeeding, in which case you don't want to deprive that child on that. So, but as far as kids go, you can just do 3 meals, no snacks. A lot of women that are actually doing keto, they're not doing intermittent fasting, but they're just not like snacking through the day. And they're doing really good, because the last thing you want to get if you're pregnant is gestational diabetes or insulin resistance, because then the child is at risk for also getting the same thing. So,
other than that, keto, so it's not like, do you have a special keto program for someone who just had their gallbladder out? Do you have a special keto program for someone who just had...
Look at this. This book...
Pushing your buttons intentionally here.
This book shows you the basic plan. This is the basic for every single body type, every single person, no matter what condition you have. But then when you do it for 2 weeks, then you'll adapt it to your body type. So let's say, for example, you do have a thyroid issue, you want to tweak it, or adrenal, you can tweak it, or a liver, or an ovary. And then I have a lot more data in there too if you have inflammation or you have this problem, because not everyone just has a weight problem. They have a lot of issues. So this book is handling like all the different other things that come up with other body issues.
By the way, let me throw in a quick anecdote. So we were out with a local celebrity, Doc Walker, last night, and he saw Terry after 2 years. And this morning he called me, he said, Terry looks like a teenager. I didn't recognize him. And that's after, by osmosis, adopting intermittent fasting and keto. He has really changed a lot. So Doc was amazed and had no idea what was going on. And it was fun to explain to him that Terry had been influenced by the great Dr. Berg and Karen, and now is no longer ugly.
Terry is one of our producers, and he's definitely been on this for a while. He's very disciplined. He'll actually follow all the videos and information that we provide,
He
which
never
I appreciate.
cheats.
Now,
that's what we like about Terry.
Steve is another situation.
No,
Steve will do it like 89% most of the time on the weekends.
Yeah, but he's lost a ton of weight.
No, he has. I know. I'm being very sarcastic.
Oh, okay.
Now, Steve is hardcore.
He's teasing him.
When you give him the correct information, he sticks to it. He will not vary because he's disciplined, and he wants to survive.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Never waver.
I'm just putting it out there, Steve. So eventually it sinks in.
Right. And you know, some people, they get into this information about keto and intermittent fasting, and they think, oh my gosh, I have to radically change my diet and I have to stop eating. I can never do that. And they don't realize that when you talk about intermittent fasting, really the essence of that is no snacking between meals. So if you're just starting this, or you want to help your kid or something like that, yeah, eliminate the carbs and the sugar. But it's 3 meals a day. I mean, that's how simple it is. Or if you're coming from some plan where you were eating 6 or 7 times a day, then take it to 4 meals a day. Just don't snack in between. And then gradually, as your body adapts, then you can take it to 3, take it to 2 meals a day. So this isn't rocket science. This isn't anything dramatic. Intermittent fasting is just about not constantly stressing your digestive and your pancreas to insulin.
Tell me about it, Karen.
Let me tell you a little bit about it.
Krista, you're from Dallas, Texas. You had a question.
Yes. Hi. Good morning, Dr. Berg. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. My question is on gut flora, gut microbiome. So right now I am trying to get rid of any Candida, any bad bacteria that I might have, as well as establishing good bacteria. Mm-hmm. And I saw your video on taking the thyme oil along with the grapefruit seed extract. Mm-hmm. And so that arrived in the mail yesterday, and I made myself a little nauseous by taking it. I wasn't sure on how much of each I'm supposed to take. The grapefruit seed extract actually came in capsules. So I did want to ask you if that was something that you recommended aside from taking oil. And so my question is on that, but I'm also taking your effective microbes. And I know your effective microbes are supposed to withstand any acidic environment, but I just want to know if I'm taking all these things to try to kill off bad bacteria and establish the good gut flora, is there a specific time that I should be taking your effective microbes, like say with a bunch of kale, like my kale smoothie? Should I keep all of the acidic stuff with the thyme oil separate? That's kind of my question.
I have a very simple answer. I would take when you take like the thyme and the other products that are meant to act as a natural kind of a destructive element to your Candida, you could even take those with your meal. So that way you don't become nauseous, because it's going to like rotor some of these, these microbes, these pathogens, funguses and things like that. So it could create a little bit of a, wow, that's pretty strong. But as far as the effective microbes, the best time to take that is right before bed. And what you do is you take, maybe start with a half a teaspoon, go up to a teaspoon, which is the capful, and then put it in a little bit of water, like 1/3 of a cup of water, right before bed. Slug it down, and then it goes through your system, and all night long it has a chance to do its thing. It's quite interesting, the story behind it. I won't get into it. You can watch the video on my website. But effective microbes will build up your flora to counter the Candida. And of course, being keto and intermittent fasting, because Candida lives on sugar. So if you starve the sugar, the Candida will go bye-bye because you have nothing to live on. Thanks for your question. And on that note, Karen, we are going to say goodbye until next week.
Wow, that was a fast hour.
Yeah. We had a lot of good questions.
More questions.
I know. Have a wonderful week, guys. Stay tuned for some interesting videos on the bubonic plague. Until next week, we'll see you.
Bye-bye.